All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the 6th call of January 6 Weeks to Success. Y'all made it. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yay! Congrats, everybody. This is fantastic. So we are going to go over a little bit of everything tonight and hopefully kind of help tie everything together for you. So we're going to do just a quick review of everything you've learned so far. So we learned that we've got to increase our product knowledge to be able to maximize our sales and our bookings. We learned that belief makes a huge impact and in fact dictates what you believe you can do and cannot do, and that your brain can in fact be retrained. You learned how to talk to people out and about, how to book parties at your shows, and words to say at both. You've learned that your passion shines through and can completely influence purchases and bookings at parties. You've learned that you have to host coach effectively to keep your sales high, your bookings to get bookings at every party, and to have a consistent pool of leads. You've also learned that your skills will make a huge difference in every party. When you know your product, you can sell your product. When you know what you say, you know how to respond to objections and turn maybes into yeses. When you tweak your host coaching skills, you have much bigger parties with much better results. And remember, of course, host coaching is where you earn your paycheck. The party is where we go to pick it up. We also learned that recruiting is what? Just a conversation, okay? We learned that we can do an interview live or over Zoom or with a PowerPoint presentation. And we learned that we are always still building our skills forever. We always have things we can learn. Michelle and I are learning every day.
Yeah.
And we learned that the fortune is in the follow-up. 2 + 2 + 2. That should be ringing a bell, right? Good quality, good customer service comes when we build relationships. And that 2 + 2 + 2 is extremely simple and it works like a charm, okay? We want to make sure that we know the words to say to each customer, whether we're on the phone or if we're in person with them. And you find out, if you make calls, you find out what they love and that they love to hear from you. Consider not asking for a booking until the second call and then see what happens. Just give good customer service. And on the 2-day and 2-week call, what do you think will happen? Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Let's find out what your biggest takeaway was from last week's session on customer care. What did you learn from the recordings and homework? And, did you make calls? So let's kind of do a little touch base with everybody. So go ahead and unmute yourselves. And what was your biggest takeaway from the customer care lesson last week?
Come on, guys, gotta talk.
Go ahead and unmute yourselves. So this is for you too. So what did you take away from customer care last week, Amanda?
I honestly can't lie. I didn't do the homework last week because we've had the belly bug here at the house, and
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you able to make any customer care calls?
No, I actually didn't start actually doing anything with my business again, besides like posting to my parties and stuff, until today.
Okay. Everybody feeling better, I hope, or at least starting to?
Yeah. Today was probably the first day nobody puked.
Oh,
big day.
terrible.
It's a big day. I'm sorry. So obviously, once you're able to go back, and I think you're going to get a lot out of the training and the audio that you listen to, it's packed full of information. So Katrina, what about you? What did you learn? What did you take away from the customer care session last week?
That you do need to communicate with your customers. I mean, I had a really good experience this last show that I had. I had a Pep and Stuff consultant who was on there, and she actually messaged me privately and said that she liked my layout for my virtual parties. She said that you could tell that I really did good hostess coaching for my hostess.
Mm-hmm.
And she was real impressed with how I was doing it.
And how good did that make you feel, huh?
It made me feel good because I didn't know that she was a consultant until the end of the party.
Oh, nice. So she was kind of stalking you.
Yep, she was. But that's okay.
But that's okay because you had done the work that you needed to do. You implemented what you had learned. You took the time. You made sure you made the investment, and it paid off.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're talking about today. We're going to focus on organization and calendar management. Most people could use help with this. Anybody here maybe need a little help getting organized from time to time? Yeah? Okay, so we're going to discuss several different topics related to organization, okay? So first, it's one thing to remember is we're going to go over a bunch of different ways to do this. The most important thing is that you figure out what works best for you. Some people are digital, some people are paper. We're going to cover both of those. But also remember that it's your business, so own it. Make sure the systems are working for you. But make sure you have systems, okay? So what kind of calendar do you prefer? Do you work from a paper calendar, or are you, well, let me ask you this. Do either of you work from a paper calendar, or do you work from a digital calendar? What do you each prefer?
Paper.
Okay.
Paper.
Both paper. Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to show you some of the digital options, because if it's anything that you just maybe feel like they're not super easy, you're not super comfortable with them, you may pick up a couple of tips tonight that might be really helpful. So keep an open mind when we're talking about the digital things as well, okay? So if you use a paper calendar, is there like a certain brand that you like? Is there something that you swear by, or do you just kind of have something that works for you?
I have like a
Have regular
journal calendar.
Okay, Amanda, I heard you say you have like a journal calendar. Okay, Katrina, what about you?
Same thing.
Okay, perfect. So, excuse me. There are obviously a bunch of different brands. It doesn't really matter as long as they work. But some things to keep in mind is, can you simplify it? Can you make sure that it's really effective and efficient? That's what we really want to make sure. So we want to start with making sure we have some sort of system, and then we want to make sure we're continually working to make it better, okay? So sometimes people use things that are color-coded. They may have sections for tasks or to-do lists. Some people will use sticky notes or clear sticky tabs for where your shows are for the dates. So that way if shows reschedule, you just lift up the sticky note and you put it on the other date, so you don't have a lot of erasures and white out on your calendar. Excuse me. Some consultants use calendars on their smartphones, and there are sections for notes on there as well, and you can easily move shows around in meetings if they are rescheduled. Obviously, you can also use one on your computer, on your tablet. Outlook is fantastic. A lot of people use that. And you can send meeting reminders to people who also use Outlook. So there's a variety of ways to do it. What we want to show you as well is, here we go. Sorry, I got behind. I don't know how I did that. I got behind on a slide. So these are some of the different brands that you're probably familiar with, Daytimers, Dayrunner, Franklin Covey. Doesn't matter the brand, just make sure that it's something that works for you, okay?
I have to tell you guys that I generally go and I buy a $1 calendar from Target. Because I have bought all different brands through the years, and what I learned is all I need is something with big spots to write in.
Yep.
Doesn't need to be fancy.
It does not need to be fancy, absolutely. So if you haven't really ever used a smartphone for your calendar, just take a peek at this, because it's actually kind of cool and it's pretty easy to set up. It can be really easy to enter your shows onto your calendar from here. So what you do is you decide which days of the week you want to do shows. Then you go into your calendar, and on each of those dates, do PC show-open, okay? And then you select the times that you want to do shows. So let's say you want to book parties every Thursday and Friday night. Then you would go in and choose every, Thursday and Friday at 6:30 or whatever your time is, okay? And then you enter it in on the next Tuesday that you want to book, and then you can just simply say repeat weekly. So that means you'll look at your phone, and it will have every Thursday at 6:30 with an opening, every Friday at 6:30 with an opening. Of course, you can then go back and adjust anything you want to, and then as you book a party, you just go into that party where it says open, and you put in the host name. So at a glance, you've always got them in there. And it's the same thing you can do repeat every other week as well. So maybe you only want to do every other Saturday or every other Sunday or whatever. You have the option to do every other as well. And then when you're doing a full service checkout, it's all right there on your phone. So you're doing the checkout on your phone, you've got your calendar on your phone, it's one-stop shopping for you. So something to consider. And the other cool thing too is when you pick a date with a host, you can edit that open show with all of the information, okay? And then you can add the recipes once they've decided, so everything can be right in there. So name, address, phone number, email, the recipes, details, all of that. And then you're gonna have everything right there at your fingertips, okay? And you'll be super organized when you're talking to the host that you're coaching and to your upcoming hosts. And then if you want to see the entire show schedule, like all of your show dates, you just type in show and it will display your scheduled shows and your open show. So you'll know at a glance how many bookings do you have and how many openings do you have. Super cool, okay? So this particular screenshot is on an iPhone, but it works pretty much the same on Android or whatever you're using. So if you've never tried it, maybe try it for team meetings or something like that, just to see maybe it may work better for you. Now, what about a to-do list or a task list? Do either one of you do that? No, Amanda, what about you? Do you ever do like a to-do list or a task list?
I do. I actually write down inside my calendar, like what day I'm going to sit and plan like a power hour of just booking or a power hour of like editing my time, like my layout of my part.
Oh, you just hit mute. That's okay. We heard most of
The
it.
little one's doing it.
Yeah.
But I write in there like what I'm going to do for a power hour.
Mm-hmm. Nope, that's great. Katrina, do you ever do a to-do list?
Next to my name in the name in the calendar, I write, mailed catalogs, set up Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
set up party, and do it that way.
Yep. So a to-do list is just a great way to kind of get everything off your mind. Some people call it a brain dump. It doesn't matter, but it's a way to basically just all those little tasks that are floating around your head, just get it out on paper. Some people do it at bedtime. That way they can just go to sleep because they're not trying to remember everything. You can do it first thing in the morning. It doesn't matter. But then you're going to figure out how you're going to organize it. And I'll show you what I do. So every morning when I come into my office, I can't see myself. Let me make sure you can see this. So I do a brain dump. So it's my personal business, my team business, and then anything I need to do for the house. If I have to go pay a bill or, I've got an appointment with the dentist or something like that. So I brain dump everything. And then I go into my planner and then I figure out, okay, what do I need to do? When do I need to do it? And I give myself, so for example, if you can see yesterday, I go down through my day in pencil, and these are all the different things that I had on my list, okay? If you try that, it might be super helpful because you get everything out and then you can organize it, and you want to make sure you're picking the top 5 things that you need to do. Make sure you're picking the income producing activities. Stamping catalogs need to get done. It does not need to get done in prime time, okay? And if you want to try something on an app, Todoist is a really popular app. So you can get everything out there. But the important thing is you can write everything down and then you want to prioritize it. Do the most important things first, okay? So let's take a look at a Tickler box or a Tickler file. Has anybody heard of this before? Whether or not you use it, have you guys heard of this before? Yeah, okay. Does anybody use one? Can you see how it might be helpful if you did? Yeah. So if you ever have problems with, what to do with all the door prize slips, this is a really great way, especially if you're a paper person, because if you're a paper person, we don't always like to get rid of paper. We like to keep it. So this is a really great way to keep it organized and make sure that it's helping you and not just cluttering your office or your office space. So, and it also works too with like when you make host coaching calls. So you just buy a recipe file box. You want to have it hold 4 by 6 inch cards, and you buy index tabs 1 through 31, and then January through December. And you can do some color coded ones if you want to, like green for shows, red for recruiting, whatever. And you can list a task on each card and place them in the file behind the numbers. So, so if it's February's the beginning, and then you've got 1 through 28, and the other ones are just hanging out in the back, okay? And then at the beginning of each month, you take your cards behind that month, okay, and you space them out. So let's say are you all familiar with how this works? Do I need to explain it in detail? Amanda, do you understand how this works? Okay, so you get it, even if you don't use it. It's something, again, to try. If you ever are feeling like you're disorganized, if you're ever feeling like you might be dropping the ball somewhere, that's a signal to try a new system, okay? So keep this in mind because it's actually a really smooth system to use, okay?
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to be overrun with door prize slips.
Yep.
I'm not an organized person, and it made me insane.
Mm-hmm.
So about 2 years ago, I started, when I would come home from an event, I would transfer the information from the door prize slips into the back of my calendar and then throw them out.
Yep.
So that really like freed me.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So if you want to keep them, just make sure you're keeping them organized. If you have a system to get rid of them, that's okay too. But again, the most important thing is if your host, if your recruit lead or if your show lead says, call me in July, make sure that you know to call them in July. Make sure it's in your phone, it's in your planner, whatever your system is, make sure that you're taking care of it. Obviously, the first reason is because you don't want to lose your show. But what's the other reason why that we want to make sure we're organized?
Helps us keep
Takes your
track.
stress.
Wait, say that again, Amanda?
I said it helps us keep track of who and when to call people.
Mm-hmm. And it also shows that you're treating your business like a business, that you're a professional. If you have ever, had a service appointment and the people didn't show up, how did you feel? If you're supposed to get a call back from somebody and they don't call back, how do you feel? They couldn't be bothered with you. They're not that organized. They don't really, you know what I mean? Our actions speak louder than words. So if we tell somebody, I will call you in May, and we don't, bad press is the worst thing that can happen. So make sure that you're taking good care of your customers and you keep your word. Whatever you need to do, but keep it effective, keep it efficient, because we want to make sure that you're spending time on things that are going to be building your business. Digging through 1,600 feet of cards and trying to remember who you were supposed to call when doesn't help you and it doesn't help your business. So make sure that you're effective and you're efficient in how you're getting things done, okay? All right. So has anybody heard of Ellington Boyce?
Yep.
She's an executive and she's pretty amazing, okay? So she did a discussion on Coffee Talk not all that long ago about her organization, okay? And her steps are on this slide. So what she talked about was eliminate. So you want to eliminate things you don't have to do, okay? Can you set up a carpool for your kids? Can you, maybe power cook on Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? What are things that you can eliminate? You don't have to make it the host packet. Somebody else can do that, okay? If you're really busy, can you maybe pay $10 an hour to a 12-year-old in the neighborhood to come stamp your catalogs and that kind of thing? Go ahead and eliminate the things that you don't need to do. And I kind of went over to delegate as well. So automate. Set up your monthly bills to auto pay. Use Postmate or SendShare. Make the same recipe all month. We want to look at streamlining, okay? Delegating is what I just kind of sidetracked into, is hire, your kids to label catalogs or, get the host packets together, or hire an assistant. We don't need to have, an adult assistant to do these things. We just need somebody who is mature enough to do things the way that we need them done and to do them well. So a 12-year-old can absolutely do this. And you spend $10 for 1 hour a week, and all of your catalogs are done, all your host packets are done, and all those things are done. All those things that you don't have to touch, that makes a big difference. There's your power hour right there, okay? And then duplicate. This is training your new consultants by taking them with you to a show. You can use videos for host coaching if you've ever done that before. You still want to be able to build that relationship. You have those one-on-ones, but you can do videos on ways to boost attendance, because probably every host needs to hear that. Okay, so there are ways that we can make things duplicatable. Okay. We also want to focus on live communication time when people are awake. So between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Outside of those times, that's when you're making host packets or emails. If you're an early bird, probably not calling anybody at 6:30. And if you are, they might be mad at you. Okay. So just be intelligent about where and how you're spending your time. And you also want to have systems in place to use small pockets of time. And you probably all heard this concept before. Have you both heard this before, pockets of time? Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know how to capitalize on it?
I do.
I hope so.
I'm good at pockets of time.
Yeah. So business in a bag. Basically what that means is that you got everything you need in a bag. Okay. You're going to color code your calendar. So, like blue is for family and, and your full-time job is yellow and Pampered Chef is for pink, whatever. You're going to do your brain dump every night before bedtime. You're going to list all those things out, all of those different things. We want to make sure that we know what we need to do when we have those little pockets of time. So if we a business in a bag is exactly what it sounds like. Is you always have something that you know you can work on if you have an extra 10 minutes somewhere, okay? So a logo bag is obviously the best option because it's advertising your business. But it's like if you're waiting in the office at the dentist office, if you're, waiting to pick up your kid from practice, or if a meeting, was running late and, you have, some extra time somewhere. There's all kinds of little pockets of time throughout the day. And what do we usually do? We pick up our phone, we start scrolling through Facebook. What if instead of scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, we sent out some messages and we did some host coaching, or we had something like that we could accomplish instead of just mindlessly scrolling through social media? Imagine how that's going to add up throughout the week. Okay. Truth. How many times do you pick up your phone during the day and just, mindlessly scroll through Facebook? Once a day, twice a day, 3-4 times a day? Be honest. Oh, go ahead and unmute yourself. Like, how often do you find yourself just flipping through Facebook?
3 or 4 times a day.
Yep. What'd you say, Amanda?
I said I probably only get to do that about 3 times a day.
Okay. So let's say even if one of those times a day, you were able to pull out your business in a bag, what could you get done? How does that add up? Okay, Katrina, if you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day, I'm not saying that you never have social time, but if you're just kind of scrolling through 3 or 4 times a day, well, what if once or twice that little pocket of time, maybe you booked a party, maybe you set up a recruit interview. Those things will start to add up, okay? It's about being ready for business, okay?
I tell you guys, I never go to a sports game, a concert, a dance recital without that bag with stuff in it. Because
Absolutely.
your kid always has to be there a half an hour to an hour before the event actually starts. And I'm going to drive them over there. I'm not going to turn around and drive back, especially if it's a half an hour away.
Yep.
I have my business in a bag. I'm either sitting in the car or I'm sitting in the bleachers or I'm sitting on a lawn chair and I am doing work. I bring my calendar, bring my iPad. I put stickers on catalogs. I do all that stuff. It also gets me business because people want to know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yep. The store is always open is a quote. I think it was Belinda Ellsworth who said, be ready for business. Every time you step out of the door, make sure that you are able to book a party if you have the opportunity. So you want to always make sure that you're ready to do this. Okay. And we also want to talk about, this is also from Ellington, organizing your week, okay? And we want to prioritize at first your own business. So as your business grows and you add people to your team, you're going to need to make sure that you balance your personal business and your team business. And anybody who has a consultant on their team should know that the most important business is yours. Okay, so your personal business will always be the priority. It's just like in the air, in the airplane, the oxygen mask comes down, you put on your mask first, then you help somebody else. So it's always going to focus around your personal business first. So here are some examples, okay? Monday, for the way she does it, it's Me Monday. So it's all about personal business. So reviewing your stats, looking at your trip points, training sessions for you, following up on recruit leads, bookings, doing all of that stuff, okay? Team Time Tuesday. As you build a team, then you can dedicate Tuesday to working with your team, reaching out to train people and that kind of thing. Wow Wednesday, day to send out a weekly newsletter to the team. Recognize the wows, things that are going on. Talk about it Thursday. So this is sending out emails to consultants and posting, that kind of thing. Facebook Friday is a virtual party day. That's where you create your templates. You can follow up on virtual party bookings, set up shows, send out your door prize slips, all those extra things that go along with virtual parties. Show Saturday, you can knock out 2 shows in one day. There are your 2 shows one week, and you got them done in one day. And then Sunday afternoons are also a great time to do parties. The other great thing about Sundays is people are usually home Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, so it is prime time to make your customer care calls. You're more likely to get a yes. People are relaxed. They're not at work. They're just chilling, okay? The most important thing to take away from this, now obviously she's an executive, so she's got a lot of team business that she looks at. So even if this doesn't all immediately relate to you, you can see the pattern that she's working on, okay? Making sure that you have some organization to your week. One thing that might be helpful, Judy Dole used to teach this all the time as far as host coaching. It's incredibly simple, and I've probably mentioned this before. Every Monday, you host coach all of your parties in that week. Every Tuesday, you host coach all of your parties in the following week. Every Wednesday, you host coach all of your parties 3 and 4 weeks out. We need to have systems, because when we have systems, things get done routinely, they get done consistently, and it allows us to focus our brain on other things. Okay.
Would you share that with us, please, on the page?
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so let's also take a look. If you are a paper person, you can use notebooks and binders. What do you both do as paper people? Do you have binders? Like, how are you keeping track of recruit leads, booking leads, any kind of training ideas? How do you each keep track of them right now?
I have different notebooks. I keep my notes for my courses in one, and like my director bound and stuff like that in one, and then on my other I keep like past hosts, my leads, my I keep all that stuff.
So we lost the last part of it, but I heard you say you have a notebook for your notes, a notebook for leads, and the last part we lost you.
Everything, like booking leads, my recruit leads, people who want me to check back,
yep,
and like customers and stuff like that.
Yep, perfect. What about you, Katrina? What kind of folders or what kind of notebook system do you use?
I use the expanding folders.
Perfect. And how does it work for you? You feel like you're able to stay on top of everything?
Yes.
Awesome. And that's always going to be the goal, is that it doesn't matter how we do it, as long as it gets done, it gets done consistently and it gets done well. Okay. So, excuse me, there's no one right answer. You can have all sorts of different binders. You can do the expanding file. It doesn't matter. But if you ever find yourself feeling like, I'm not really sure, I'm not really sure if I should be doing this better, ask for feedback. It doesn't mean you have to upend your entire system, but maybe a little tweak can be helpful. And even just for the hell of it, just as you're networking with other Pampered Chef consultants, ask what they do. Because even though you're comfortable with your system, they may have an idea that you might love. And it may help to address an issue that you didn't even really acknowledge was an issue because you're just so used to doing it. So always be open-minded about learning how other successful consultants are able to stay on top of things, okay? All right, so if you're an electronic person, you both said you're paper, but if you're electronic, there are a lot of really fantastic things that you can do. Again, it's worth a try now and then. You can make binders in Evernote. I'm sure you both have heard of Evernote, right? Even if you don't use them, you've heard of Evernote. So you can make binders in that. You can share things. You can keep them private. So that's an excellent one. You can set up a recipe box with e-cookbooks, so you can just send them out. So it is entirely possible to go paperless, not necessarily completely if you don't want to, but you can absolutely put some parts of your business into Evernote, things that you're going to be sending out to your customers and that kind of thing. Obviously, we need to be tracking. You both just said you have a way to keep track of everything, making sure that you're keeping up with your booking and recruit leads, your door prize slips. If you tape them to the page of a notebook and keep notes, there are a lot of different ways to do it. The most important thing is that you know exactly what needs to happen and when. And again, if you ever feel like you're kind of like some people might be falling through the cracks, that's a big red flag to make sure that you're reevaluating how you're tracking everything. Okay. Same thing. So if you're doing in-person cooking shows, there are some things you can do to make your life easier, especially if you have a full-time job or you have kids. You can do the same recipe all month. Have either one of you ever done that? Do the same recipe all month? Katrina, how did you like doing that? Do you do that as a regular now?
I actually have, since I started back up doing it, I have not done any in-home parties.
Okay.
But when I used to do it, I would do the recipe for the whole month.
Yep. And made it easier, right?
It made it very easy.
Yep, absolutely. Amanda, have you ever tried that?
No.
So it's something that you can always keep in mind. You can always, too, and most consultants tend to do this, you have a handful of recipes that you always offer. So you're not always learning a new recipe. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that we're keeping things as streamlined as possible. And, you know, you can.
And I want to say something there.
Yeah, please.
I have 5 or 6 recipes that I offer, and I will say, okay, you want to do chicken burrito bowls? You know, do you want to do risotto? Whatever, right? I keep my products in the car all the time. They don't come out of the car. I have a Rubbermaid tub filled with all of the things that would be used at any of those recipes, you know, which is mostly the same things. You know, it's got the knives and the cutting boards and quick slice and the whipped cream maker and the food chopper, things that I use at every show.
Yep.
So I never have to repack my car. The only thing that comes out of that, I add catalogs and order forms to my bag that stays in the car.
Nicole's just laughing. Yep.
Because she knows I'm the queen of minimalist.
Yeah. That's totally me.
Yeah.
I probably taught you that. The other thing I do is I take my quick cooker out of the car because I want to cook with it. But I'm going to have one of those. Yeah. Because I gave the other one away because I don't have room for 2. But I literally never take the stuff out of my car because that used to stress me out so bad when I was a young consultant, moving things in and out of the car all the time and repacking.
And that, just so y'all know, that's a plug for promoting to director, because when you promote to director, you have multiples of everything. So you're able to do that. As a brand new consultant, we understand, you know, as you're early on in your business, you don't necessarily have that option. But if you're doing the same recipes for the whole month, then even if you are repacking, it's the same,
it's easy to
10 things. It's boom, pick it up, and you're done. Okay. Other things too, make your host packets up in bulk. You know, you can email them the host specials, the guest specials. You don't necessarily need to print it off and put it in there. You can email that to them. You can set up like door prize slips and zipper bags. So you can just like any little like things you need to restock, you can have it in a bag. So you can just grab that, throw it in your catalog bag. All these different things. Host coaching. Again, we mentioned some videos. All these different things we can do to make things a little bit easier for us. Virtual parties. You guys are familiar with these things too. Obviously, you need to have a template. You don't want to be just winging it every single time because you're just going to be wasting time. Have your prizes ready to mail. When you're tallying points, you know, there are a lot of different ways you can do it. There are some really fantastic websites that you can take care of it as well. And you can, let's see, I just lost my place here. Host coaching and motivating hosts. You know, you can set up a Facebook group with your host for that month. So you're able to host coach everybody and create a little bit of friendly competition right in there. And you can also do different, I'm sure you are familiar with these ideas, but make sure you're executing them. So for example, you can have a folder with all of your graphics for, you know, the introduction, that kind of thing. So when you go to make a new template, it's just a matter of, okay, here's my opening, here's this, here's the games that we play. So it's just easy for you to pull. So you're not just digging through endless, you know, mounds of graphics. Okay. All right. So we've talked about the Power Hour before, but this is a really important part of organization. You want to touch your business every day. We want to do that at least 5 days per week, even if it's only for an hour. Okay, use the 3-2-1 system. Okay, tell me what's 3-2-1 stand for? Amanda, what's it stand for? Or Katrina? 3-2-1. Do you remember? What is it? How many contacts should we be making every day?
contacts a day, 2 parties a week, and I forget what.
1 recruit a month.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. 3, 2, 1. That's like, you should just have that tattooed on your forehead. 3 contacts a day, 2 shows a month, 2 shows a week, 1 recruit a month, and you'll be golden. Okay. During your power hour, you spend 15 minutes on getting bookings, 15 minutes on recruit leads, 15 minutes for host coaching, and 15 minutes for customer care calls. If your calendar is empty, guess what? You're spending 30 minutes on bookings. Okay. And this is going to work. All right. So make sure that you're putting in a power hour, and it's going to make a big difference. All right. Last one for me, and then I'm turning it over to Michelle. Did you know that only 13% of people set goals? One of the most common reasons people give for not setting goals is that they don't want to fail. That was me. I never used to want to set goals because I don't want to fail. But guess what? If you don't set a goal, you're never going to get even close to it. Okay. You're never going to succeed. What do you have to lose? Set a goal. Worst case, you don't hit your goal, but you're a hell of a lot better off than if you hadn't set one, okay? Statistics show that people who are goal setters are the ones who succeed and they actually reach their goals. We've talked about doing daily affirmations. You want to write down 4 or 5 things that you want and that you need to believe, especially if self-confidence is an issue with you. And we all go through times when our self-confidence takes a nosedive, every single one of us. When that happens, pull out your affirmations and say them all day long to yourself if you need to. So it might be something like, I'm a booking magnet, or I already earned Disney. You write them as if they have already happened. Put them on index cards or sticky notes, stick them in your car, whatever. Put them on the mirror, read them, and say them out loud 3 times a day. What you believe, you can achieve. And when you read them to yourself every day, you will believe it. You want to look at the book, The Miracle Morning, and that will totally give you some focus for you, for your business, and for your life. All right, going on to Michelle.
All right, so you've learned some great skills. We've been really pumping you full of information. What are you going to put into action? What have you already put into action? You should choose 3 of the most important things that you need in your business and put them into action immediately. Don't try to do every single thing that we taught you right away. You will drive yourself crazy, and then you will give up because you will be frustrated. So you need bookings. You're going to focus on the bookings. You don't have product knowledge. You're going to focus on that. You know, you guys know what you need. Go back through your notes. Go back and watch all the videos again. It's okay to do that. You can watch them as many times as you want until you learn them. Then pick the top 3 things that you were going to focus on for 2 weeks. Once you have got them down and you are really feeling comfortable with them, pick another couple things. Or even if you're only comfortable with 1, pick 1 more. Keep replacing them with other things. That doesn't mean stop doing the first 3. It means add to your habits. You're going to make more new and better habits. So who wants to share what they're going to do? What are you putting into action? Somebody share with me at least 1 thing they're going to be putting into action. Come on, guys. Somebody talk.
Amanda's getting wrestled right now. We're going to have to give her a second.
Okay. That's funny.
I'm going to
How
work
about
on
you,
more
Katrina?
bookings.
Say that again.
I'm going to work on more bookings.
Work on more bookings. Do you have a concrete goal of exactly how many bookings you want?
I want 4 to 6 a month.
Okay. How many do you have right now?
3.
So you need 3 more this month, and you need
Yes.
how many more for March?
2.
Okay, good. There's your concrete goal.
And
How
then
many
go
people
back
are you
to,
going to have to call or speak to in order to get those 5 bookings?
I'm sorry, what?
How many people are you going to have to speak to in order to get those 5 bookings?
Probably about 20.
Probably about 50.
go back to,
Because you're going to get 1 in 10 is going to say yes. Okay? So
If
make
you-
sure you put enough time aside that you're going to know you're going to have to speak between 20 and 50. Hey, if you can do it in 20, more power to you, girl. I'd be excited. But it's probably going to be more like 40 or 50.
and
Okay.
if bookings is what you're focusing on, Katrina, go back to your week 2 notes and review all of that.
I will.
Pick out a skill from there, pick out a new idea and implement it, okay?
All right, hit me with the next slide. Some people just walk through life. They talk, 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 and life is over. Some people walk through life. They walk, 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 and arrive at their destination. This is basically shut up and do it. How was that? Right? Just start doing it. So many times people are like, I'm getting ready to make phone calls, and they spend so much time getting ready and they never actually make the phone calls. Stop getting ready to do stuff and actually do it instead. Okay? That's super important. Self-assessment checklist. I do not have this in front of me. Is there an actual checklist? Is it on the next slide? Oh, there we go. Am I walking the talk checklist? All right, let's add, guys, I hope you all have paper in front of you because I want you to answer these questions, and I'll post them later, but I want you, or maybe Julie will post them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do my hosts ever call and ask me for something? Answer yes or no. If you say yes, that means you're not host coaching enough. So remember that, okay? They shouldn't be calling you. You know, unless they have a question about a product or something, but they shouldn't be calling and saying, should I have catalogs? Do I have invitations? How do I do this? You should be talking to them about that. Okay. So if you answered yes, the answer put right next to it, host coach more. Number 2, am I punctual to my host's home, team meetings and trainings? Super important. You know what? I think I've been late to a show twice in my business. Once because it gave me bad directions back before GPS, and I overshot her home by 45 minutes. So that was the problem. The other time, we had our times mixed up. I thought we were starting at 6:30. She thought we were starting at 6, and I showed up at 6:30, and I was really upset. So it's really important to get there early. You want to be calm when the show starts. If you're not early and ready and prepared, you are not going to be calm. Mm-hmm. Team meetings, we like you to come early so you have time to socialize with your friends, and then we can buckle down. All right. So I want you to ask yourself those questions. If your answer is no, I'm not punctual, figure out a way to make yourself punctual. Leave a half an hour earlier. Okay. You could always sit in front of her car, in front of her house in your car, and make phone calls if you need to. All right. Am I kind, courteous, quick to resolve issues, truthful, and knowledgeable? Authenticity, right? I just watched a John Maxwell thing this morning or yesterday about authenticity. It is really important to treat your customers and your guests and your hosts the way you would like to be treated. If you don't, then they're not going to come back to you. So ask yourself those questions very honestly and figure out what you can do differently. Do my guest hosts ever say to me, this was the most fun I've ever been to. You're awesome at what you do. That's a great thing to hear. I hear that all the time. I want to hear it. If I don't hear it, I'm upset because that means they didn't have as much fun as I want them to have. Okay. You're awesome at what you do says to me, that to me is a red flag recruiting line where I'm going to talk to them about how they can do what I do. But you should be hearing that they're having a great time. Katrina just told us that somebody told her that this week, and that's awesome. We want to hear that, okay? If you're not hearing that, you need to talk to your director, and we can teach you how to make your show more fun, okay? Because fun is what it's all about. It is called a party. Do I spend too much time on non-income producing activities? Stop getting ready to work and just actually work, okay? Julie spends a lot of time talking about having other people do the menial tasks. That's really important. For many, many years, my kids did all the stickers on my catalogs and everything, okay? One of the things I saw on a previous slide was stamping order forms. I haven't stamped an order form in 10 years.
I don't use order forms anymore.
Oh, that's right. You don't even use order forms. I do use order forms, and when when they're not doing express party checkout, because some people do and some people don't, I just handwrite my name and phone number on it as I'm totaling their order form. I mean, like, nobody should be doing that. That's a waste of your time.
So, and honestly, just do express party checkout. I've had like 70-year-old people do it. Don't just do it. Just tell them this is how we.
Party checkout is awesome.
Yeah,
I did it at a vendor event this weekend.
Yeah. And
I made everybody take a picture of it who walked away from me without placing an order, so they could do their order later.
Yeah, just eliminate order forms. Go on. Anyway, sorry.
It's all right. Do I procrastinate doing homework, making phone calls, returning calls and emails? Oh my gosh, I am the queen of procrastination. Do you know how I get myself not to procrastinate? I give myself incentives. This is retarded, but this is what I have to do. My son was the world's worst sleeper when he was little. He was so bad. He wanted to be on top of me every minute of the day, and I needed him to go away. He was the middle of 3 children that were very close in age. I needed him to go away and sleep when his sister slept. He didn't sleep, so I incentivized him every day. Okay. And I learned that his personality is sort of similar to mine. I need to be incentivized myself. So I incentivize myself. If I go in my office and work for 2 hours, then I allow myself to go out in the garden for 2 hours. Okay. Things like that. Whatever it is you like to do, incentivize yourself to get rid of the procrastination. It makes a big difference. Okay. Procrastination is just, it's a way for you not to get what you want. Okay. You got to stop doing it. It's really hard to get around, though. It's a habit more than anything else.
And one thing, if I can just jump in really quickly, when we're procrastinating on things like returning calls and emails and that kind of thing, the message that you're sending is that you're more important than the person you're trying to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it boils down to. Okay. Think about if you've ever been waiting for somebody to call you back and they don't.
Yep.
Okay. It's about them. It's always got to be about them.
Are my host packets, recruiting packets, clear, concise, clearly labeled, and professional looking? First of all, I don't do host packets. I haven't done host packets in 10 years. I just give them a stack of catalogs, some order forms, and a recruiting brochure. That's a host packet for me. If you hide it into a folder or an envelope, they never see it again. They leave it in their house. This is what my recruiting packets look like. Can you guys see that?
Sort of, yep.
It's Stacy Itzel's idea. It's a 5x7 envelope. It says, think about it. Go to Pamper Check Biz, Michelle McLean. Click on Be a Consultant, scroll to bottom, and watch how it works. They get this. I have a bunch of these on my desk because I was making them today. It has a paycheck, questions about Pamper Chef, and the apron flyer inside of it. Okay, and that's it. I try to be minimalist. That's the only thing I actually make ahead of time. Are my shows start to finish no longer than an hour and 15 minutes? That means the time that you are talking and cooking with them. Okay. You want to be short and sweet. Don't try to make yourself cram it into a shorter amount of time, because what I learned years ago was people are coming for a night out. Let them enjoy themselves. They are at a party. Okay. Do you start on time? This is important. If you have people there waiting for you to start, you need to start. I give them 15 minutes. So if I say we're going to start at 6:45, we're not really starting until 7, but at 7, I'm starting. Whether there's 2 people or 20 people, okay? Because the people that are there, you need to respect their time. The people that are late, they're not respecting my time. I'm not respecting theirs. I'm just going to start without them, okay? They can jump in when they get there. Do I fumble around during my shows or keep them fast-paced, informative, fun, and full of tips? If you're nervous and you look nervous, they're going to feel it, okay? Give yourself a script, practice, let them talk. My best tip is let your customers and your host talk. If you're not sure what to say, you pick up a product and your mind goes blank and you have no idea what to say about it. Say, does anybody have this? What do you like about it? Let them do the talking, okay? They like to talk anyway. So they're going to have more fun that way. So I really make 3 calls, contacts per day. This is actual speaking to people, not 3 messages, okay? Sometimes I can make 15 to actually speak to 3 people. This is super important. We learned 3, 2, 1, right? Is 50% of my business new business? Yes, we want to rebook our hosts, but we don't want to keep asking the same people to have shows over and over and over and over and over again. If that's what's happening, that's a lack in your host coaching. You're not getting enough people at your shows, okay? If you need some new business, go out and do vendor events and meet some new people. Really important. Is your personal appearance neat and professional? Nobody wants somebody cooking with them that has dirty fingernails, right? You know, nobody wants hair in the food. You know, it's really important to be neat and professional. You can wear jeans, make sure they're nice jeans. If you're going to wear sneakers, which at vendor events I do because I stand all day, I wear really good looking sneakers. You know, make sure your apron is clean if you're wearing an apron. It's just really important to do that kind of stuff. Is my kit clean and tidy? Yes. Matter of fact, I just ran my quick cooker pieces through the dishwasher tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to do the new thing they told us about, the deep clean cycle, because it smells like tacos.
And let me just jump in here really quickly. Watch for things that start to look worn. And remember, Kit Enhancement Month is coming up in April. So if any of your, like the manual food processor, if the plastic on that, if it's starting to look cloudy, get a new one. Okay?
Yeah, just get the outside piece, right. Yep. Can I be counted on? Super important. Are you reliable? You need to be reliable, right? People are not going to want to do business with you if you're not reliable. All right, thanks. Jill, hit the next one. Self-complacency is fatal to progress. Self-evaluation is hard. It is hard to answer those questions, and we will post them so you could really ask yourself those questions. I know we went through them quickly, but sometimes we have to go back and ask you. I know there's the worst question on that list for me personally is the procrastination question. You know, we all have things that are going to hit us and be like, oh, crud, I really need to get over this. All right, keep going. All right, our last pillar is will. We're close to time, aren't we? Yes, we are. All right. All the skill in the world won't help you if you don't have the will. Honestly, you could be the most intelligent person in the world and get nowhere.
Mhm.
But if you are the most determined person in the world, you're going to be the most successful. It has less to do with how much you know and how well you can do it, and more to do with how often you will do it and how hard you work at it. That's much more important than anything else.
Passion and belief will get you so much farther. The will to do it will make all the difference.
Yep. And your passion and your belief, they drive your will.
Yep.
We can't make it work for you. We can't call your hosts. We can't call your recruit leads. You know, we can do a 3-way call with your recruit leads. We can't book your parties. We can't work out with your tools. We can't earn the trip for you. We can just encourage you to do these things, okay? But if you want to do them, you can do them. It makes all the difference. All you have to do is want to, right? Julie saw me do when I wanted to go to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go there so bad. So I worked my butt off in November and December to get there.
Did too.
Nothing to do with skill, but had to do with working really, really hard to do it. It's all up to you and your determination. Your will. I can and I will. Watch me. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. If you're having trouble believing in yourself, I need you to call your director so we can help you believe in yourself, okay? There is no reason why you can't do this. Every single person in this company started out with the same kind of starter kit,
Mm-hmm.
okay? We all started out with the same number of products. We all started out with no experience. A lot of us started out with zero ability to cook. All we had was our smile and a box full of products that we didn't know what to do with.
Yep.
And we figured it out. If we can do it, and all those national execs can do it, you can do it also. It is not magic. There is no magic wand.
Probably.
So this is what I want you guys to ask yourself. What do I need to stop doing in order to be successful? We talk a lot about what you need to do, what you need to start to do, but what I really want you to ask yourself this, like you might have to really sit in a quiet room for 10 minutes and think, what do I need to stop doing in order to make myself successful? I asked myself this question a few times this week because I was really doing a lot of procrastinating. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's February and it's been miserable weather and I really just didn't want to do anything. So I had to ask myself, what do I need to stop doing so I can be more productive? And today was my first day with things that I stopped doing and I was super productive today. So that really is a very important question to ask yourself. Then you can ask yourself, what do I need to start doing? And we already answered that question because those are those 3 things that we said that you learned during this course that we want you to really focus on for the next 2 weeks. And what am I already doing? What habits do I already have? What systems do I already have in place that I need to continue doing so that I stay successful? All right, we already did this.
I was just saying, can anybody think of something right off the top of their heads that you want to share? Can you identify something right away that you know you need to stop?
Feel free to share. One of mine is procrastinating.
Yep. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? What do you need to continue? Just share one of any of them.
I would say probably stop scrolling through Facebook.
There you go.
Okay,
perfect.
Or set yourself a time limit.
Yep.
And literally put a timer on your phone. And when it goes off, you turn it off.
Yep.
Because
and use it as an incentive. You know, once I do the things I need to do, then I can scroll Facebook.
Right, right.
Katrina, what about you? What would pick anything? Start, stop, or continue? What can you think of?
I need to continue to learn the products.
Okay?
Okay. Easiest way to do that is to use them in your kitchen. What kind of questions do you guys have? All right, so today is our let's go to homework and then we'll go past. Michael Reeves, one of my favorite people in the business. What is it? Shut the barn door, shut the gate and paint the barn red or something like that. He said,
Yeah.
You got to listen to him. He's the best. He's such a nice person too. Want to watch your video on his top 20 business tips. I actually saw him do that live, that video, and it was awesome. He looked like he had 40 cups of coffee, but he's always really hyper. He lost his career sales 9 times, and in the last 6-7 years, he's been on the stage every year for the top 5 people in sales in the company. And let me tell you that he had a stroke and he was still in the top 5. He had a car accident where he broke both of his legs on the way home from a show and was still in the top 5. Those were 2 years in a row. Man is working his butt off. Okay. You want to listen to him. And he's very down to earth. Okay. He used to be a farmer and now he's a pampered chef. Okay. So it's very interesting to talk to him and listen to him. All right. To do this week, sit down and self-evaluate. Review the list of 15 Are You Walking the Talk? We're going to post those. And commit to changing any area you feel you are lacking. So that's our homework, okay?
Remember, you need to step out of your comfort zone, everybody. We all do. Okay,
Yeah.
That's when the magic happens. That's where Disney gets, that's where you get to Disney. That's when everything happens. We all need to remember to step out of our comfort zone on a regular basis.
Yes, we do. Because nothing happens inside of their comfort zone. That is so true.
Yep.
You got to get out in order to get things done. We really enjoyed working with you. And we wanted to say that 6 weeks to success was wonderful. And I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Next week, we will be starting our Director Bound February, March program. If you are interested in becoming a director on the team, then you need to speak to your director and we will give you the requirements for being in the Director Bound program. Director Bound program will be on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. There will not be a 6 weeks to success for the next 6 weeks, but at the end of Director Bound, 6 weeks to success will start again. But again, you guys can go back and listen to the recordings anytime. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you all for all the time you've invested. We believe in you and we can see your success even if you can't see it yet. Do the things that you've been taught. Believe in yourself and you will absolutely get everything that you can imagine. Congratulations, guys. You did it. Keep going.
Yay.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.